So, hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of Astrology Now. And hi, Babula, nice to have you here.
Hi, Cheryl, thanks.
You're our source of inspiration and knowledge, so I love that, or the fountain of knowledge that pours out of you astrologically, which is great because I learn a lot when I do, and so do other people too, I know. So we're back this time for the new moon solar eclipse in Taurus coming up in Australia this Sunday. And I believe it's the first eclipse of 2022. Is that right?
It is, yeah.
Yeah. So, and it's a partial solar eclipse.
Yeah.
And it's bringing in some intense energy to shake us up.
It sure is.
Because eclipses mean change, don't they?
They do.
Yeah,
they do.
So in Taurus, though, Taurus doesn't actually like change.
No, it does not.
So I get, and I know that you're going to talk about Uranus standing by there to give it a kick up the backside and say, sorry, this is going to happen whether you like it or not.
Yep.
So why don't you take it away with, kick it off with what all that is about.
Great, thanks, Cheryl. So yeah, your comment about Taurus doesn't like change, it reminded me of that word that's often associated with Taurus, that word stubborn.
Yes.
You'll hear that a lot when people think of Taurus. And I think that kind of stubborn reputation comes because it's a fixed earth sign. It's designed to put roots down really deep and strong, to hold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I guess we could look at things that are taking root in our life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. And what do we even mean by roots? There's many ways to look at that, isn't there?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
That's right. So it's it's an earth sign, and it has a tremendous strength and a sense of stability. And of course, for a few years now, our friend Uranus, the mover and shaker, is making its 7-year passage through the sign of Taurus, and it's got a few years to go, a couple of years to go. So it's big. So this eclipse coming up on May the 1st, and in the east coast of Australia, it'll be in the morning around 6:30 on the Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Is particularly powerful. I mean, you're absolutely right. Eclipses are they're always catalysts, big events. I mean, historically it was noted by astrologers that kings and rulers and so on would often come to their demise, or there'd be a big battle, or there'd be some major event or turning point, happen in the kingdom. And of course, way back in the day, it was really only the king and the rulers who had access to astrologers anyway, and they were usually pretty much in the employ of the rulers. So they worked with, the charts of rulers. Eclipses are powerful catalysts. Big events happen, big energies come in. So it's a new moon, which we have every month, but it's new moon multiplied by however many you like, a lot.
Yeah.
So the energies, because it's a new moon aligned with the north and south node, which are very powerful karmic points.
Yes.
Yeah. So that really charges up. And then 2 weeks later, there'll be the full moon lunar eclipse. So solar eclipse now, then the lunar.
Yeah.
So the nodes, the north and south nodes, that karmic axis is the key really to understanding eclipses. So, we could go on for hours here about that.
Yes, we could.
But we could, but we won't. So, there are always times, particularly if that eclipse is hitting or touching on something in your own personal chart. So then it will impact your life in a more kind of personal and immediate and direct way. But in the collective field, always during eclipse season, which, by the way, there's a build-up. There's been a build-up in the last few weeks.
Yeah.
And then the energy of the eclipse continues to play out for some time to come after the main event.
Yes. Yeah.
So This one is really extra powerful because, as you said, the presence of our mate Uranus.
Yes.
Yep. So that, boy, does that bring some energy in. Uranus is high octane energy, sky god. Mythologically, Uranus is sky god. And so that represents, mind, consciousness, the universe, the stars. It's got a strong connection to astrology, this planet, and technology and science and collective awakening and rebellion and revolution and
just
change.
Radical, isn't it?
Radical.
Yeah.
Lightning and lightning storms and earthquakes. I mean, it's just a big energy, and it's eruptive.
Yeah.
Yeah, and disruptive. That's one of his favorite methods, disruption.
So, look, my desk has come through on my virtual background because this was Taurus, and I just had to drip in green today.
Gorgeous, yeah.
I just didn't have any green background, so I thought, well, I'm going to put a virtual background in, even though I don't like them. But because
no, it's wonderful. I had a painting that I'd done of a nature goddess, and it was all green, but it's now happily in someone else's home. But I had that thought this morning, oh, that's right, it's gone. So but it was all those same, it was just this kind of lush greens. So I just went more kind of earthy colors.
So going back to the radical Uranus there, though, how does it affect because it's Earth, so how does it affect the Earth? So like you were saying, you're expecting more earthquakes and eruptions like that, volcanic.
Yeah, so that can absolutely be a part of it. It's like images of bolts of lightning coming down from the heavens and crashing down into Earth. I have a beautiful image that I've sometimes used on PowerPoints of a tree being struck by a bolt of lightning.
Yeah.
And my understanding is that the Earth Gaia, she needs those injections of electrical cosmic energy.
That's right.
It's a part of her energy system. They light up her own electrical grids and so on and so on.
Well, actually, my understanding is it's a bit of a fallacy that the lightning comes from the sky down. It actually comes from the Earth up, and it connects to the electricity.
Isn't that fascinating?
Yes. So I read that, and I thought, I think it was a New Scientist. I thought, oh, that's really fascinating. I always thought it came from the down, but it actually draws it down.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
Because, in mythology, Uranus, sky god, I'm talking Greek mythology here.
Yeah.
They said that the origins came from Uranus, sky god, mating with Gaia, Earth.
Yeah.
And that sort of created the first race of beings. Yeah. So it's a very interesting idea, isn't it? This meeting of Uranus sky energy.
Yes.
And this union with the earth. And there's, we could go in all kinds of directions with that. It's a wonderful sort of metaphor and idea. And in many ways, it's actually literal.
Yeah.
So, it's electrical, it's shocking. Your word radical is spot on, it's perfect. It's surprising. Things happen and we go, what?
Yeah.
Wow. And they happen like that.
Yeah. So with all this, it's creating change, which Taurus doesn't like, but Uranus is saying it's happening.
That's right.
And it's radical change. And
right.
But with change, it's like, well, this too shall pass eventually. Although with much gnashing of teeth and all that sort of. But it's about the lesson of change, isn't it? Too. It's about how we accept change, and then what we move into, what we can let go of, and then to make room for the new. Because Uranus is about the new too, isn't it? Bringing that in.
It is, and change is going to happen. Like it's just, we've all been through our lives when we've had a number of really strong Uranus transits in our own chart and in our own life. So we've all lived through various Uranian upheavals. And one of the really great things about Uranus, his higher purpose, if you like, the change is about a change of consciousness. You know, it's about awakening. These slow-moving outer planets, mainly, well, I'm going to include Chiron, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto are evolutionary forces. They operate in a different way, and Uranus does it through our nervous system, our brain, our thinking, our consciousness. It sends bolts of energy through. You know those aha moments where all of a sudden you just go, "Oh, I've got it."
Yes.
Or we get in, like a light bulb, or a lightning bolt.
Yeah.
And suddenly, and in that moment, everything can change.
Yes, exactly.
And it's a shift. So it's a shift of consciousness and an awakening. But of course, different signs are going to receive Uranus in different ways, and Taurus is going to have some resistance to that. It's nature.
So I'm just wondering how it would affect its natural characteristics, because it's a hardworking sign. I'm thinking of friends who are Taurians, and their loyalty, their steadfast nature, their independence, and all of that, trustworthiness. How they'll get the shake up, and could that sort of affect that in a negative way about their normal characteristics, their behavior?
For some, it can. It absolutely. For some Taurians who are perhaps still experiencing resistance, or I don't want to know about it, or what I see is that these changes come because something inside of us, even if it's unconscious, is actually ready and calling out for something to change.
Yes.
Because one of the things that happens in Taurus, we get stuck in inertia.
Yes.
The habits.
Yes.
Same, Taurians will go to the same place for a holiday every year, exactly the same. And that's quite natural. Taurus likes that. It's not a problem for them, It's like that's just how it is. And a Uranus transit will come along and hit off something in their chart, hit their sun in Taurus, for example, and this eclipse. And all of a sudden, that analogy of the holiday place, all of a sudden it's been sold and it's not available to them anymore. And it's like a little shock, like, oh, now what am I going to do? It's all changed all of a sudden. And so there has to be an adjustment. And if they're open to it, there might be a little thrill of excitement about the possibility of something new. But if they're not open to it, they're going to really struggle with that, and perhaps get very negative and maybe get very, very anxious about it because everything's uncertain now.
And Taurus is also an accumulative energy too. So it likes to accumulate money. It likes to accumulate food.
Yes.
And hold on to it, so for security.
That's right.
For security, I'm just thinking of my friends. So, of course, you've got to be careful, particularly with food, that it doesn't turn into gluttony.
That's right.
And hoarding of wealth or hoarding of things, material things, those sorts of things, because money is supposed to be cyclical. Should go with the flow
currency
of else,
Yeah.
I guess some of that energy could be a bit quite frugal, but that Uranian energy is sort of snapping them out of that.
That's right. It's shaking things up and creating disruption and a lot of uncertainty. There's a certain chaotic, wild quality. It's like he doesn't give two hoots about your attachments.
Yes.
At all. Not interested. Like, okay, we're coming in. This is going to happen. This is going to change. This is going to get uprooted.
Yes.
And so, each of us are going. So some people are very naturally Uranian. They just go, yes, this is exciting. Bring it on, and others will be quite anxious about this energy, what's going to happen, because we don't know.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's a very, and it's a powerful energy, Uranus. This is not a little energy. It's a big, strong, and it's right there on the eclipse. It's only 2 degrees off.
Yeah.
Its presence is very significant.
I'm also thinking, I was reading in my, here we are, just in case, I mean, it's the wrong way around, but it's, medical astrology. I've shown it before, but some people may not have seen it. Sorry, it's back to front, but it's by Jane Ritter Patrick.
Yeah, she's great.
And just reading up on Taurus and which parts of the body it relates to and which rules the throat. So you can have thyroid disorders, throat, ear, and tonsil problems, diseases of the neck and throat, and I was reading, interestingly, caused by melancholy. And I thought, oh, isn't that curious? Because I'm thinking about maybe that's one of the reasons Taurus likes to hang on to, because if it lets go, it's grief around those things, grief and sadness, and then later on reflecting, thinking, oh, sadness about things gone in the past that weren't the way that they would have liked it to be, those sorts of things.
That's true. And that's a kind of a reflection of attachment again.
Yes.
Like, I think I might have spoken of this before, perhaps the last time when the sun went into Taurus, and this is extremely relevant right now during this eclipse season. This eclipse season every year in May, it's not always an eclipse, it just happens to be this year, but the new and full moon in Taurus every May is very, very important in the Buddhist calendar.
Yeah.
And I've long associated with this sign spiritually with Buddha. Like, it's interesting to look at every sign and look at it in different levels, because there are many different levels of consciousness related to each sign. So this, one of the most important teachings of Buddha was around attachment. A lot of our suffering comes from our clinging and attachment to this earthly kind of 3D dimension, and that actually causes suffering because we're afraid to lose something.
Yes, yeah.
So we cling and hold on to it, which is a very kind of Taurian response.
Yeah, interesting, isn't it?
It's very, very interesting, and that the alleviation of suffering can come more from seeing this clearly, which is Uranus. Uranus is simply awareness and consciousness.
Yes.
Yeah. We become aware of, my God, look how attached I am to this. How would I feel if it suddenly disappeared? And then you have to really feel what that's about for us. So these are some of the things. And I think, another thing from Buddha, of course, is teaching. I mean, one of the biggest images we have of him, of course, is sitting under the Bodhi tree. He just sat and sat, didn't move, and sat. And then that Uranian energy of consciousness began to open. It just kind of blew him wide open because he just sat and he did not move. So that kind of being very still can be a beautiful way to work with this energy. You could think of, if we're starting to feel stressed and anxious, which we can on this eclipse big time, is to literally, we can take that image literally, go and sit outside in your garden on the ground under a tree if you have one to sit under, and just sit and wait and be still and quiet.
Yeah.
That's
be more receptive.
That's right. And understand that big energies are moving, there's change, there's instability, there's uncertainty, but there is a place. What was it? You used the word rooted earlier. Was it rooted, you said?
Yes.
What am I rooted in? Like my external life might be going through chaos, but is there somewhere in me that I can experience and feel being actually rooted in my own being?
Yes, yeah.
In the midst of all of that swirling energy.
Yeah, absolutely. And what's trying to root into my life?
Yes.
That perhaps I haven't been as open to as I could have been before or something, which is what happens with change, because it gives you those little cracks, doesn't it? Where the roots can go into the concrete.
That's right. And something new and different. And it's a really good point, that, because this solar eclipse is what we call a north node. So the sun and the moon conjunction, the new moon, is conjunct the north node, and the north node is about moving forward into the new. And with Uranus there, big time, like, hang on to your hats, folks. Anything can happen.
Yes.
But it's about waking us up. There may be some shocks that have to happen as part of that process, some surprises and revelations.
Yeah.
But it's about moving us forward.
Yeah.
Into something new and different. And that, I think I was thinking about that earlier. I thought, what am I seeing in me and in my own life that's kind of coming in that feels quite new? And I think then if we can connect with that, it can feel quite exciting, actually.
Yes. And, you've just reminded me too that about, this cycle in other cultures. For example, I was looking this morning about this weekend, we've also got Samhain, which is the Gaelic festival, which is sometimes associated with the Christian Halloween. In the Southern Hemisphere, but it's actually, that's the Christian side of it, but it's actually the Gaelic side of it that I was interested in, because it's actually the end of the harvest season. It's a festival for that. And it's an acknowledgement that it's a change of season and a turning of our natural cycle from outward to inward.
Yeah.
And when we do that, this is a time for personal reflection. And you're just talking about these things. Recognizing our faults and our flaws and creating a method for rectifying them, we're growing, we're improving and up-leveling ourselves. So I'm thinking about, this is all about, what's not rooted in my life and what can I plant, particularly at a new moon, about to upgrade myself and improve myself.
Yes. And how different might that look? Like, to be really open to something being really different.
Yes.
To what we've known or done before. It's a different energy, an energy of change, and it's a real big injection of consciousness, and when we kind of awaken, we go through many stages of different levels of awakening, and realizing things and seeing things. I think this is one of those big ones, one of those real catalytic moments.
Yes.
That can really open us to something quite new and different and exciting and unexpected, and it can feel very kind of uncertain. But if we have any wisdom at all, we'll acknowledge this and somehow find ways to ride it, and say yes to it,
Yeah. Curious, isn't it?
And I know there was something I wanted to relate to what you were saying before, and I've just remembered. You're speaking about reflection and the change of seasons, and we're in autumn here. The energy is definitely changing, even seasonally, isn't it? But we're also coming into the beginnings of a new period of retrograde planets.
Oh.
For the last few months, they've all been in direct motion. So things have been kind of moving forward fast, haven't they?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Now, yeah. So the day before the eclipse, on the 30th of April, Pluto begins to turn retrograde. I mean, over the last week or so, and for the first week of May, he's still very, very slow and very stationary. But Pluto begins to turn back. And then on the 10th, Mercury will go through a short 3-week retrograde. And then in the next couple of months, a lot of other planets will begin their retrograde phase. So we're going to go through a period in the middle of the year, which is normal, when there'll be a bunch of retrograde planets. And that points to a time of a deeper reflection, integration. Like, so much has happened, and a lot's going to continue to happen. Sometimes we need to just take a pause, don't we?
Oh, yes, we do. We do.
We do. And literally reflect, return back to something. It's very common when we're in retrograde periods for things from the past to show up.
Yeah.
As an idea or an experience or a repeat of something. All those words, most people will have seen this or heard this, all those words that start with the prefix re, retrograde, returning, reflecting, revising, reviewing, reconsidering.
What about revivifying things that we've left in the past and go, oh, I think I'm going to bring that back to life. Give
exactly. Exactly. But bring it back. And when we come back to something that we may have kind of put aside some time ago, we've changed. We're different, aren't we?
Yeah.
Especially now. I mean, the rate of change is just phenomenal.
Yes.
So yeah, it kind of comes back in a different way, in some way, in a different form, with a different energy.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Refresh. There's a good RE word.
Yeah, I like that one.
Yeah, refreshed and revivified.
It's like, refresh and loading on your computer.
Exactly. So that's a great analogy. Uranus does govern technology. There's a lot going on in the world of technology. Rebooting.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think these are good things. And the other thing on the 30th with Pluto turning retrograde, so basically Pluto's stationary retrograde on this eclipse, talk about let's give it some more power. But also Mercury goes into Gemini. So Mercury, literally the day before the eclipse, will be in Gemini, and then on the 10th he'll turn retrograde in Gemini, and later in the month we'll go back into Taurus for a while and then come back into Gemini. So Mercury's kind of got a lot going on with him, the communicator, the messenger.
Yeah. He likes being in Gemini.
Loves Gemini.
Yes, absolutely.
And I've noticed when Gemini is activated, there's just busy.
Oh, yeah.
Like Geminis are always busy.
Yeah.
Lots going on, lots of different things going on.
Yes. I have Moon in Gemini. I have a million things happening at once with my Sagittarian sun. It's like
exactly
fingers in many pies and busy with it.
Exactly. And so all the communications that are associated with that, and and all the different people and so on.
Yeah.
So it's quite a busy energy.
Yeah.
Go on.
I was just going to say, before you go on, I just wanted to also bring in, I was looking up, as I mentioned to you earlier, because in the past I've done aurosoma color therapy as well, which is, if people who don't know it, it's just where you have the little bottles where they've got two colors in each. You have a colored oil floating on a colored water. And it's a color psychology system, really, but it has this esoteric approach to it and understanding, which brings in the tarot and astrology and those sorts of things. So, and the Kabbalah. And I was looking up the bottle that equates to Taurus, which is the Atlantean bottle of all things, which is the heart bottle. And when you shake the blue and green together, guess what color it makes? Turquoise. And guess what that relates to? Aquarius, Uranus. And I thought, wow, that's just so interesting how it all links in with what we're talking about today.
It so does. I love that it's the heart bottle. What planet rules the sign of Taurus? Venus. The goddess of love, the goddess of beauty. I mean, Taurians, one of the things I love, I have many Taurian friends. It's a strong theme in my own family. And Taurians love beauty. They just have this relationship with the beauty of nature, with beautiful fabrics, beautiful art, beautiful music, usually beautiful things. It's an earth sign. And even with music, it's often in the body, this response of the body to music and rhythm.
Yes.
But it's beauty that Taurus loves. Beautiful jewelry, beautiful clothes, all of that. And it's luscious and tangible and physical. So yes, Venus.
Yeah.
The love principle. And that's the bottle. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And Venus has this fascinating relationship with Uranus too in mythology.
Yeah.
So there's all these very interesting connections, isn't there?
There is, isn't there? The other part of that, in relation to that Aurosoma bottle, the heart bottle, is about creative communication, especially in relation to the earth. Also the Earth's grid and magnetic structures. And the bottle depicts Atlantis, and it's about being peaceful, because it's blue on the top and green on the bottom, being peaceful while on Earth. Wow. I mean, I just find that amazing how it all fits together.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Wow, I love that. I love that you bring in the Aurosoma bottles. I think that's because everything's so interconnected, colors, it's all resonance vibration, isn't it? All of it, everything.
Yeah.
And all these interconnections. Beautiful. Now, this brings me back to Venus, because on the day of the eclipse, Venus herself, which is very happily in Pisces, has been for a few weeks now. She's exalted in the sign of Pisces, meaning it's one of her favorite signs to be in, makes a conjunction with mighty Jupiter at 27 degrees of Pisces on the day. So on this eclipse, we have Pluto turning retrograde, Uranus conjunct the eclipse, Venus conjunct Jupiter. These are all different energies.
They are.
But they're all significant.
Yes.
So this is a big eclipse energy. Now, Venus and Jupiter, I mean, this is a beautiful combination. So with all the power and intensity of the Uranus eclipse and the Pluto and all of that, Venus is the heart and the love light of the feminine. And Jupiter, I was lost to say about Jupiter, but one of the main things of Jupiter is about truth and the search for truth and higher knowledge, the quest, and that search for meaning. And Jupiter is an old ruler of Pisces. Venus is exalted in Pisces, meaning they're both like very happily in these signs.
Yeah.
They are also the two brightest stars in our sky. They are known by the old traditional astrologers as the benefics, the two planets that are said to bring the most benefit through to us here on Earth. Venus through love, and Jupiter through just abundance and opportunity, and sometimes just good luck and good fortune, like most Sagittarians often experience. There's a kind of a positive confidence that comes with Jupiter and of expansion. And in Pisces, this can be amazing for spiritual expansion. We're still coming out of that Jupiter-Neptune conjunction. They're still quite close.
Yeah.
Been so important over this last month. And now beautiful Venus, the love light, meets Jupiter in Pisces. So that's can be a tremendous energy of heart expansion, of heart opening, of compassion, of connecting with, I'll use words that, everyone has their own language for this, connecting with the divine, with the God, with the goddess, with spirit, it's something of the beyond, that's intangible, and it's through the heart, and it's very real, and can be potentially very big. I had a most wonderful healing session. So I can't even remember whether it was yesterday or the day before. I think it was the day before. So, like, what's happened to time? I don't even know what day it is. And it was very subtle, energetic, and sound was used. And I just had the most beautiful, amazing heart opening experiences and insights and clarity. And it was very, very fine.
Yes.
The whole experience was very fine.
Yeah.
And I was aware later, I thought, this is Venus, Jupiter in Pisces, just opening something up in a way that was so easy and natural. Nothing was forced. It was beautiful. It was exquisite.
I've actually had an experience like that. where my heart chakra opened. And I've had two experiences like that. My heart chakra opened and my crown chakra opened. The crown chakra was during a Reiki initiation, and the heart chakra was during a workshop, which was a little bit more advanced for people who are a little bit more along the path. And I could actually physically feel the petals opening of my heart. And everyone in the room, I suddenly loved them. It was a very strange experience, I have to say. I knew them, didn't know them from Adam. And it was like, boom, something switched on, those petals opened, and I could physically feel it in my chest. And I could relate to them. I could hold them and encompass them. And it was just unconditional love just filled me. And I think that's what you're talking about, that beautiful Venusian energy when it strikes. I was just going to say before that, you got to be careful, because with in Pisces, I'm thinking about people can get lost in the dreaminess of being in love,
Also, that we can be deluded.
Yeah, so come down to ground, people.
That's right. But I think when it's what you're describing, it's something very pure, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah.
Absolutely pure. And I do feel that that's where humanity is going. That's where our evolutionary path is taking us, because we've been so dominated by the mind, and by our left brain. But this is a beautiful, beautiful energy. And, Uranus is consciousness, wake up. And Venus, Jupiter here in those last degrees of Pisces is a tremendous offering of the heart opening in the midst of all of this.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, humanity is going through so much, and each one of us individually going through so much in that process as well.
And I think too that's closed our hearts.
Yes.
It's hardened our hearts, and we need that softening energy to come back.
We absolutely do. Yeah. We sort of close off to, in a attempt to try and protect ourselves from it, because it's just all overwhelming. It all's too much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, we're just getting lost in this conversation.
I know. I know. And of course, Venus is the ruler of Taurus. So she's important on this eclipse.
Yeah.
And here she is with Jupiter.
Yeah.
And in the sky, like some of you will be aware that, on social media, there's been all kinds of posts, and people have been posting photos, if they've been able to take them, of the early morning sky with this lineup. Like you can see them like one after another, Venus and Mars and Jupiter, and the moon was there at one point too. And she's there now. What was the other planet? Saturn. Because these are all visible to the naked eye. And you could literally just see them. And I saw them one morning when the sky was clear, and I was up early enough, before the sun came up. That has an impact on us too, to literally see these things happening in our sky, and it takes it out of that purely abstract form. Like, there they are. I can see them.
Yeah. So and they're wonderful photos too. Beautiful.
Oh, really clear.
Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah. So, yeah, amazing stuff. Okay. So then
just the focus. Get out of that Piscean energy.
That's right. Okay. Back to it. So on May the 3rd, so 2 days after the eclipse, Venus will then leave Pisces. So, she's at the conjunction with Jupiter at 27 degrees, almost 28. So 2 days later, she will actually leave Pisces and leap into Aries.
Ooh,
that's right. So
well,
Venus
she's a brave woman.
Brave woman. Well, for those women and men who have Venus in Aries, they'll go, yes, let's go.
Yeah.
So, Aries always comes after Pisces. And Aries is just a whole new injection of energy. It's fire, it's cardinal, it's action oriented. It's like, right, we're ready, let's go. Let's do this. And Venus, well, it's interesting for Venus. Aries is ruled by Mars. Now we've got Venus in Aries. It's not her favorite sign, but what she can do at her best she can bring heart energy into the Aries energy field. So Aries is a sign of leadership, for example. Can we lead from the heart? Can our heart guide us into how we move forward? You know, because Aries has always got this strong dynamic forward momentum.
Yeah.
Stepping into the new, into the unknown, blazing new trails, pioneering.
Boldly going where no man has gone before.
That's the one. And the two main stars of Star Trek, from where that quote comes, were both Aries.
Oh, wow.
I know.
Oh, wow.
Isn't it amazing? So they were a perfect fit.
Yeah.
So it is, there's that boldness, you know, leading from the heart with a bold quality. And I've seen in young women I've met over the years with Venus in Aries, you know, when they're young, they're kind of party girls, you know, they're full of energy and dynamic qualities, and they just want to enjoy that Venus energy, you know, in a dynamic way. So this can be a marvelous time for our enthusiasm and passion for something new to be ignited. Remember, it's coming hot off the tail of this Uranian eclipse.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, so it could even be waking up that day and going, whoa, I'm ready to go. I've got some energy and vitality. And
I'm just reflecting on that, what I just said flippantly before about Venus is a brave woman, you know, jumping into Aries. But actually, when you think about love can make us brave. You know,
beautiful.
Yes.
It
can just, when we, you know, if we feel that something's being threatened, or it makes us, I don't know, I'm not quite sure what I'm trying to say. Maybe you can help me get the words out. But you know, just love can make us brave.
That's fantastic. I love that. It's true. And it might mean that we have to take an action that's required instead of just sitting back and thinking, oh, it'll be all right. No, it might be love for a child, or love for a partner, or love for whatever, a friend.
Or tough love.
Or tough love. And suddenly you just go, no, I have to do something about it. You can't just sit back here.
Yep.
You know, she has to take action. It's almost like, if we go mythological, you know, it's that archetype of the warrior goddesses.
Yes. Yes.
Not that she wants to fight, but if she has to, she will.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
and advocating for other people too.
Absolutely. And it's fundamentally coming from love. When Venus is operating well in Aries, it's coming from the heart, you know. But also to think about our passion, you know, what do we love? What do we love doing? Aries has to do stuff. It has to actively do things. Yeah. You know, so what do we love doing? Go and do it, you know, move your energy. Like Venus in Aries, maybe dancing, like do what you love, do what you enjoy, and feel that enthusiasm and passion for something.
Yes, yes.
I mean, I paint sometimes, and I'm thinking with Venus in Aries might be inspired to want to use fiery colors, or paint in a kind of fiery, passionate way with strong music, like really using that energy of Venus in Aries.
Yeah.
And look, for some, it might be they meet someone new. New relationships forming, whether that be new friendship relationships, or perhaps a new person to actually form a love relationship with.
Yesterday I connected with someone about being a speaker to one of my groups, and he said he had left the engineering construction industry to do the work that similar to what we do, into that sort of esoteric work, because he's passionate about it and he loved it, and he got brave enough to do it.
Yes.
He
follow his heart.
Yes. Yeah.
That's a bit like what you were saying before. Love makes us brave. You know, his heart was pulling him, wasn't it? It was calling him. Yeah. I love stories like that.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's brave. People have to be brave to throw in that's the mainstream work and go and do alternative work if that's what they feel drawn to, or any work.
Exactly, because
because
financially there's no guarantees in that arena. And you know, and Venus is a money planet as well, so maybe it's got to be bold around a relationship with money.
Yes, exactly. Wow.
Like instead of thinking, oh, I should get round to that, well, suddenly she's in Maybe you need to change your financial situation, which is relevant with all this Taurus energy going on.
Yeah. And I was just,
maybe now's the time to do it. Like, don't wait, just go.
yeah. And that's something we haven't actually talked about, really, is it? About the issues around money that can come up with all of this. If we think about what's going on in our economy right now, real estate in Australia is booming while businesses are closing. You know, COVID set in and we've got this great increase in unemployment, even though the government tries to tell us it's unemployment's down. We've also got this great resignation movement that's going on where people are leaving secure jobs, working for others to pursue working for themselves in what we're just saying, in industries involving their interests and their passions.
That's right. And also the whole situation of the economic structures and systems of this planet, that's all becoming more and more unstable. And the issue of food security looming. I mean, we've seen signs of this coming for a while, but it feels like it's really gathered momentum now. And depending on what information we access, some very interesting things going on in that area. So things are very unstable and very uncertain.
Yes, yeah.
I think a few more shocks to come in that department too, around money and finances and food. And because Taurus is about what sustains us.
Yes, yeah.
You know, and so there's a great deal of disruption in that field for sure. May the 10th, Mercury turns retrograde. Warning. It's like, but you know, even in the week or two before, you know, there's what they call the shadow period, the lead up period, where Mercury starts to slow down and he's moving through those areas of the zodiac where he's going to go back over again. So we're kind of in that zone now. And many people start to find that already we're getting the sort of technological glitches and the little mishaps and the car won't start and, you know, that kind
like that. Yeah.
As I was saying to someone just yesterday, I think Mercury retrograde often costs me money, I've noticed, you know, because just things happen. You've got to get the techie in, or a piece of equipment breaks down, or you lose an important piece.
People can misinterpret something you've said.
That's right. Appointments get missed, you know, it's all that classical stuff. But Mercury retrograde, it must be said, and it's true, can also be fantastic in the way of retrograde review, of doing deep work, deep research, deep study, having really important conversations that maybe you've sort of skimmed across the surface of, and go, yeah, no, actually, we really have to talk about this.
Yes, and getting the noodle engaged too.
Exactly. So on one level, yes, it can cause, there's often a bit of kind of mayhem.
Yes.
You know, he's a cheeky fellow, he's mischievous. Hermes Mercury, he's kind of naughty, but and he's up to mischief, and it's like that. But at the same time, you know, a lot of really profound stuff can come out of Mercury retrograde.
I feel like you should make a recording about Mercury retrograde and just play it every time it comes up. You know, it's the same issues.
It is. It is actually. It's like just put it on repeat.
Yes, and you know, if you can, don't sign any documents, but if you do, double, triple, quadruple check everything.
That's right. And get someone else to go over it as well. Like if it's really important, contract or something. But you know, it's interesting. Say someone's buying or selling a house and Mercury's retrograde while you're right in the middle of that important contract thing and settlement and all of that. Often something happens anyway that's out of your hands. Things like it's not considered wise to be doing important things like that in the middle of Mercury retrograde. But very often it will sort itself out after Mercury retrograde. And then you often look back and you go, actually, it's really good that happened. I found out something that I didn't know, or, you know, something like that. Or you end up, okay, that deal fell through. This other house has come up. It's actually far better. You know, that's often what goes on, but it can often cause a lot of stress and angst in the middle of it.
What about white men speaking with forked tongue?
You bet, especially while it's retrograding in Gemini. I mean, Gemini is the twins, and there's certain people, in public life, as we come up to our election, who I think can only speak with forked tongue. I think it's their only mode of communication.
Yes.
So, yeah. And of course, we're getting all that, aren't we? Like, it's just so tedious to listen. I don't even listen to it. As soon as I hear their voice, I turn it off. I can't bear it.
Yeah.
Because none of it's straight and honest and upfront at all. Yeah. What's the point? But yeah, so, the airways are just filled with that nonsense. And the election's happening while Mercury's in retrograde. I cannot tell you how often that happens.
I know. I think they need an astrologer on their team.
So same thing happens in America. It's almost like every time Mercury's retrograde.
Maybe there is an astrologer on their team.
There might be.
Yeah.
And it always causes kind of upsets and glitches so it's crazy. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, May the 11th.
Through.
So if we go back to the Venus-Jupiter conjunction on the day of the eclipse, and then 2 days later, Venus leaves Pisces and goes into Aries. Well, and this is big, on the 11th, Jupiter leaves Pisces and goes into Aries. And that's important because Jupiter is much more slow moving and he spends a year roughly in every sign. So Jupiter is going to come out of Pisces where he's just been sort of reveling in all that, big, expansive energy. And again, like Venus, ready for action. So Jupiter, that planet of enthusiasm and truth-seeking and adventure-seeking and opportunity and fortune, is raring to go. And I can speak from experience because I happen to have Jupiter in Aries. And I'm prone to, particularly when it's getting activated, which it will, I'll be having my 12-year Jupiter return while it's in Aries. Like I just set off on these whole new ventures into the unknown. I've done it many times and people are just going, what are you doing? And I'm off. I have to do this.
I know. When you clean out to New Zealand, boom, she's gone.
Twice I've done that to New Zealand and I've done it in other situations. So it's that impulse. Aries is an impulse.
Yes, it's impulsive, yeah.
To move, to go into something completely new. And somebody might say, have you ever been there before or done that before? No. And I've noticed, even when I go for walks around the neighborhood, I'm always looking for somewhere new. I don't want to walk the same way every time.
Yes, yeah.
I want a new landscape, a new experience. That's the nature of Aries. And when Jupiter's there, it's big. So for me, journeys and travel is always about a new experience that I haven't had before. Right? And there's always great learning to be had in that because that's Jupiter is looking for something, is on the quest.
Yep.
And in Aries, the quest is into some new experience, a new venture. So people who run businesses, or as we talked before about that movement of what's the word again? People leaving their well-paid.
The Great Resignation.
The Great Resignation.
Yeah.
Leaving well-paid, secure jobs into something completely new.
Yep.
But with Jupiter, there's always a sense of buoyancy and confidence and opportunity. It's not what we might call a negative, constrictive, contractive energy.
Yes. Yeah.
It's always from this place of, wow, it's going to be amazing.
Yes. Yeah.
There's opportunities that can open up and it moves really fast. So bold leadership, passion. And in the collective field, it's going to be very interesting to observe this. There's going to be fireworks, and there's going to be quite a lot of argy-bargy around what's true and what's not true. And, that brings us to, on this very Uranian eclipse, with then followed by Jupiter going to Aries, what's just happened in the social media space with, Elon Musk buying.
Yeah, Twitter. Yeah.
I'm making no judgment either way. I find it fascinating. I'm following it. It's very interesting. On one hand, it looks amazing and great.
Yeah.
Or, opening up, getting rid of that censorship that's been happening.
Yes.
On the other hand, is there something else going on here we don't know about yet?
Well, I don't blame people for saying, not trusting.
Yeah.
Trust has been damaged, that's for sure.
That's right. That's right.
I don't blame people for that.
So I'm just sitting here going, oh, this is exciting.
Where's it going to lead?
But I'm going to wait and see.
Yes, I know.
See how this unfolds. But this is the kind of thing, like these new things. We're going to see lots of new things happening, and we're going to feel that impulse for the new. And we might have been umming and ahhing about it for a while, like, yeah. All of a sudden, there'll be this sense of, yeah, I can do that.
Yeah.
I'm going to do that.
Cool.
Yeah, it is. It's great. I feel great. Like, I'm like, yeah, let's go. And we can just feel energized and inspired. And it's not coming from, oh, I really should. It's like, well, I actually have to.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's a big deal. And he'll be in Aries for many, many months now. And later in the year, there'll be a 6-week period where in retrograde, he'll slip back into Pisces for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And then the end of the year, go back into Aries. So for quite a long period now in Aries, and then a bit more into next year. So there's a lot of big things happening in May.
Yes. I'm looking forward to it because sometimes I go, wow, I'm just exhausted from it, but I enjoy change.
I do too.
I find it easy to let go of things and move on.
Me too.
Yeah, because it just always, there's always something new to, like you say, new to find, explore, get to know, get information. And then, of course, my Sagittarius wants to turn around and share it. My Gemini and my Sagittarius.
Exactly.
Turn around and share it with other people if I find there's something of value in it.
Exactly. That's right.
Yeah.
And the Aquarian energy in you as well. That's right. There's those. That's right. We feel compelled to share this with other people.
Yeah.
Just one more thing I started to talk about, and then I didn't sort of get to another point about Taurus' relationship to Buddha. I really want to bring this in because to me, it's a really big deal. Every May on the full moon, when the sun is in Taurus opposite the moon in Scorpio, and this year the full moon in 2 weeks' time will be a lunar eclipse. That is, in the Buddhist world, the Wesak festival, Wesak. And if anyone's curious, there's a lot of information online about it. And it is said that, on esoteric levels, there's a sacred mountain in Tibet called Kailash, Mount Kailash. The most magnificent mountain. I actually have an image of it currently. I like changing the images on my Facebook page fairly regularly to kind of go with what I'm feeling astrologically. And so I've had Mount Kailash, an image of Kailash up there for a while the sun's been in Taurus. And it's the sunlight shining on it. And this mountain, which has a very particular shape, is literally golden. It's like someone's painted gold. So this is a very important festival. And it is said that at this festival, the Buddha and Christ and various other great beings all energetically descend over Mount Kailash, and thousands of people go on pilgrimages every year to Kailash at this time to be there for this event. So it's a big deal, and if anyone's curious about it, there's a lot of information.
So is this around the Buddha's birthday as well, like the Buddha birthday?
Well, legend has it, I don't know how true this is, but I remember years ago reading this, and it's always stayed with me, that he was born on the Taurus full moon, became enlightened on the Taurus full moon, and left his body on the Taurus full moon. There's something about the energy, and it fits with all of his teachings and the imagery we have of Buddha under the Bodhi tree and just sitting.
Well, the festival is usually held in Brisbane in the middle of May. So
yes.
Yeah. So I'm hoping they'll have it again this year.
Exactly. So, for all around the world, there's a lot of Buddhist people
Yeah.
in different countries. So it's like their Christmas in a way.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a really, really important time. And energetically, it's a powerful time.
Yeah.
Taurus is a powerful sign.
Mm.
And at that full moon, when the moon's in Scorpio,
Mm.
it's an important full moon. Okay. Oh goodness me,
Don't tell me there's more.
we've been talking a lot.
I know, but that's okay.
I'll just run through the last couple of bits. So we've covered a lot. May the 15th, Venus, now in Aries, will make a conjunction with Chiron. And this, to me, you know, Chiron's in Aries for 9 years. It's currently in Aries around 14 degrees. Again, that's a whole story. We won't go into that. But there's a lot around new, exploring new possibilities around healing, around illness and healing. And with Venus here, I think this is a beautiful opportunity around that week to, even individually on a personal level, maybe even on that day, we'll perhaps find a new healer, or someone will recommend someone to us, and it will set us off on an important new healing journey. Yeah. You know, those, I love that when all of a sudden, you know, whatever stage we're at on the healing journey, suddenly someone new comes into your life who's an important piece of the next phase.
Yes. Yep. You know? Exactly what you mean. Yep.
Yeah. Like that session, even though I've known this woman for years and she has readings with me every year, I hadn't had, and I've seen her for other things, I hadn't actually had this particular new thing that she'd just been training in. So it was a completely new experience for me. And it was absolutely wonderful. I'm going back for more.
Right.
You know, so this is the kind of thing that can happen.
Yeah.
Or we might decide to make some changes in our diet, or like it's time. I think with Jupiter and Aries too, like it's time to perhaps get our bodies moving. Like I really need to get more exercise.
Yeah. Yeah.
And while everything's been in Pisces, there's not a lot of motivation for that.
And the wet weather. Yeah.
The Aries injects like new dynamic energy.
Yeah.
That can help us get moving, which is really important for our health and well-being.
Speaking of the wet weather, though, I think, isn't it about the middle of May that this will all change, that the wet weather or the Piscean energy will push it to the side? Yeah, we should get some sunshine.
I know. You know, once Venus and Jupiter leave Pisces, the only planet left in Pisces will be Neptune, which is a 14-year process anyway. They've still got a couple of years to go, but yeah, it will start to feel really different. You know, there's a kind of a new energy coming in. And yeah, it's been very wet and a bit overwhelming and quite exhausting. I think people are really tired.
Yeah, I'm feeling
We're all really tired. Yeah. So I think a bit of new energy, right? Really new energy, I think will be very welcome. It doesn't mean everything's going to necessarily be easy. There's still a lot going on in the world that's challenging. But yeah, new energy.
Well, maybe that's time to put our dancing shoes on.
Yes.
With some Aries energy.
Exactly. And then on the 21st, of course, the sun will leave Taurus and go into Gemini. So yeah, it's a big period, a lot of big things happening.
Yes, yeah. I've been feeling like I've got, you know, juggler's ball I'm tossing up in the air, and everything's all over the place at the moment. You know, there's been so many unexpected things and cancellations, and then people booking in for things I've never met them before. How did they find out about me, and all this sort of stuff? And you know, I have to let that go. I have to reschedule this. It's like it's all over the place. It's like it's a real messy sort of time in regards to being organized for me.
I find that as well. It's like there's just lots of different things happening and it keeps shifting and changing. Yeah. And I find myself focusing on one thing for a while, and then all of a sudden I have to move over here, or something else happens, or suddenly my attention is taken elsewhere because I need to deal with this now.
Yeah.
It's constant, like very choppy, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very choppy. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right.
Mm.
Yeah, choppy energy. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah.
Oh well.
Well, I think there'll be more of that on this eclipse.
Oh really? Oh no. Maybe I'll just pull the blind down and just say, not doing anything for a little while.
Well, good luck with that.
Thank you. Well, before we close off today, I just wanted to say to people that last weekend I went to the Mind Body Spirit Festival, which was, I really enjoyed it. I went on the Friday. It was nice and quiet. But I wanted to give a shout out to Rockpool Publishing because they were giving away the Moon Diaries for this year, 2022, Moon Goddess Diaries for free. And I really thought that was very nice. Oh, where's my, hang on, let me just get rid of, I'm going to stop that now. And go over to here now. And there we go.
Oh, there you go. But you're normal again. I'm
normal again. But you can see the Moon Goddess Diary, which is really nice, actually. It's got
beautiful cover.
Different colors inside, but it's got exercises and images and
fantastic,
and all the moon stuff going on as well as other things. But their 2023 diary, well, if you're interested, and I don't have shares in Rockpool Publishing, I'm just doing this because they gave me a free diary.
Yeah, nice.
It comes out in July, so you'll be able to get it from then in July. I know that's backwards, but anyway, there it is.
Beautiful. Fantastic.
And I love
moon diaries are great because it helps you to keep track of the cycles.
Yeah, it's really good. And you can just write things down like in relation to, well, what happened on when that, on that particular aspect. You can write it down and compare. But I like this one too because it's got room for notes. Where is it? But it has like exercises too.
Oh, nice.
About the moon. So I really like that too.
Mm.
Oh, anyway, I love that.
On that, it can be a really great idea. Like if you have a busy life and you need an actual diary, to have almost two, like have your sort of working diary and have something like that as more of a personal, like you said, like keep track astrologically what you're experiencing, what's going on in your life, and your other is more like your kind of business operational.
Yeah. And there was even a suggestion in here, I think it was going into autumn, to go out and find some leaves on the ground. Like, this is an art diary, really. You can stick things in it.
Great.
Stick the dead leaves in there, press them, or the flowers.
Very nice.
And all those sorts of things. So I thought it was really cute.
That's interesting because I was just yesterday thinking, now I'm in a house that has a garden with lots of trees and things that bloom and flower all over. It's like a tropical paradise. I thought, I actually want to keep track of when things are flowering.
Yeah, write it in the diary.
And that's a great use of that diary.
Yeah. There you go.
Thank you.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you so much for all that information. And share. It's just things to cogitate on and percolate over.
Yeah. Yeah, percolating.
Hopefully we won't spill too much. So everyone, if you enjoyed this episode of Astrology Now, please like it and subscribe to the channel. And anyway, we will be back in 2 weeks with the next lunar cycle. So thank you, Babula.
You're welcome, Cheryl. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.